Mega Man Legends is a game that was released in 1997 to extremely mixed reception. It was supposed to be the third series in the Mega Man franchise, having the original games on NES, the X series on SNES. This was going to be the first step into 3D on the Sony PlayStation. This was an extremely early attempt at a 3D game, releasing shy of 1 year after Mario 64 for reference. In a world covered by endless water, small patches of land remain all that's left to inhabit. With an energy crisis threatening this world, explorers known as diggers explore ancient ruins in hopes of finding refractors. These refractors can restore the energy crisis, and one day they hope to uncover the mother lode, an energy source so powerful the crisis will be prevented. Starting off with the tutorial level after picking up one of these refractors, you play as Mega Man Volnot, who I'll just be referring to as Volnot for the rest of this video. It's here where the gameplay begins, where you're shooting down these native enemies known as Reaver bots. Gameplay wise, Mega Man Legends dropped a little before Ape Escape, the first game to take advantage of dual analog sticks with the DualShock. As a result of this limitation, you're stuck with using just the D-pad along with L1 and R1 to rotate the camera. Even plugging in a DualShock controller, the game won't register analog inputs. Think like the first Tomb Raider game with its tank controls, or the original Crash Bandicoot having to move the D-pad in a 3D environment. I was surprised at how quickly I adapted to this. You can even surprisingly do a 180 turn by holding back like in Resident Evil. Locking on the other hand can be a little strange. This game came out slightly before Ocarina of Time, which introduced the conventional lock-on that is used in games today. In Mega Man Legends, when you lock on, you are completely stuck in place. Thankfully, strafing and shooting in a circle tends to be the best method of attack against enemies. So in most enemy encounters, I'd recommend just strafing and avoiding locking on altogether. It's here where I do the 2010 YouTuber reviewer thing and complain about how you can't move during the text boxes in the tutorials and how player freedom is all that matters. But seriously, I was shocked seeing this game be put down the toilet back in the day for its tutorials, only to play it for myself and to realise that those tutorials are 3 text boxes at most and can be skipped using the triangle button. I guess I should elaborate more on this point. This game in particular, alongside a slew of other early 3D titles, were constantly mocked during the early ages of YouTube, back when there wasn't much nuance when it came to game reviews. Games were either the best gift to mankind or the spawn of hell itself. Now don't get me wrong, I love these content creators, but it's important to keep that in mind when talking about Mega Man Legends today. Anyway, back to the game. It's here where we meet Roll, Volnot's spotter during expositions, who provides intel and support, as well as Barrel Casket, who's kinda just there during the adventure. The engine of the ship begins to overheat and you crash land on Catalog's island. It's here where the events of Mega Man Legends takes place. We get our papers checked and are then given access throughout most areas of the town. We also get to meet many bizarre and colourful NPCs. And also kick this can, which reminded me a lot of Half-Life 2's opening.
Why has the seen fit to suppress our reproductive cycle? Sincerely.
The game really opens up here, and it's at this moment that the genius of Mega Man Legends is really shown. First, the art style. This right here is the first attempt at cel shading, predating Jet Set Radio. Also, like Wind Waker, it was given a ton of flack from gamers who only liked realism and anything else was just for babies, but thankfully nowadays this art style is beloved and has even become somewhat mainstream in games today. As a result of this art style, this game has aged remarkably well, especially when you put it up against any other game that released around this time. There's a huge point I want to make clear with this video, is just how most audiences at this time were not ready for a game like this. Most videos around this era in gaming like to mention how much gaming was changing with the jump to 3D, but I think what was just as important to mention is that gamers also had to adapt to this change. But I can cut them some slack. I had a series that meant a lot to me changing one intro, and being the jaded 17-year-old that I was back then, I hated it, but after putting my differences aside, I could see how this game is a great game in its series. Anyway, back to the story. It's here we're introduced to the main antagonist of this game, the Bonds, a group of sky pirates that pillage lands and also commit several war crimes. There's Trombone, who I actually knew before this game, being one of my mains in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Teaselbon, and Bonbon. Oh, I see what you did there. They fit the light-hearted vibes that the game is going for, and they reminded me a lot of Team Rocket from the Pokemon anime. It's here where you have to protect City Hall from them. Citizens will evacuate in, and interestingly enough, this scene is scripted. You're told to stop the attack before they can destroy City Hall and the other buildings. However, you have to take the hit even after completing the mission. It's here where an interesting side quest can be done, where you fund back the city and rebuild all the other buildings. Honestly, wasn't expecting this kind of world building from a game like this. Reminded me a lot of Colony 6 from Xenoblade. So that's the plot of this game in a nutshell. Go after the refractors whilst confronting the Bonds and using the town's resources to bear a quick Walnut, there's a surprising amount of things to do around Catalog's Island. You can just vibe out with the game's art style, chat with some folks, or play some minigames. There's this one minigame where you pop balloons and the face looks a lot like Saitama from One Punch Man, which I just found amusing. There's these cool looking TVs that I'm definitely not going to edit anything over. Gift flowers, collect these cats, shoutouts to these low poly animals by the way. Oh yeah, speaking of, there's another member in your crew, Data the Monkey. He's where you can heal up and even get some tips on what to do next in the game. I like how the devs were consciously aware we're making a game like this for its audience, ensuring they would never get lost with these helpful tips. It would have been many people's first time playing a game like this. I always felt like I knew where to go next because of these tips, and it was very helpful since the world is more open this time. He also does that old video game thing where the game would freeze every time it's saved. We also fixed his vehicle with roll and gained the ability to fast travel the world, which isn't exactly huge, but it being open at all is really impressive in 3D, especially since series like GTA wouldn't be able to achieve this until the next generation with the PlayStation 2. It's here you can invent new weapons or enhance ones you have equipped. Throughout the game you can find equipment or booster parts that will increase your overall stats. Mainly focused on the attack stat. You can tell they really wanted this game to be like an RPG with this, as well as the town that you visit. I really like this blend of gunner meets RPG. There isn't anything I can compare it to, even today. Maybe the closest are the ground sections from Kid Icarus Uprising. Mega Man Legends really reminded me of that game with the writing and overall vibes, which if you didn't know is a huge favourite of mine. The dungeon exploration in this game is another aspect I really enjoyed. There's a little puzzle solving, a little combat and some platforming. The map impressed me here, conveying a good amount of information. I never felt lost because of this, even when you have to backtrack to find a key item. My only complaint is the overall lack of dungeons in the game. Each time you head in to get another refractor, which is then used to fix your ship that crash landed and takes you to the next location.
Initiating countdown. 3, 2, 1. Mega Man, now! Here goes. Metastatic field operational. Pair production active. Come on, fly.
Every now and then you'll be stopped by a boss fight. I enjoyed these, most of them can be quite the endurance on your health, but their designs are great, and the fact that the PlayStation is running all these locked at 30 FPS is something to mention, especially with how a lot of games from this era are notorious for having very low frame rates. There was some lock-on shenanigans here and there, and the boss fights where you had to protect your ship's health could be a close call at times, but they were overall a good enough challenge and didn't feel too easy. Well, outside of the tutorial boss, but that was kind of the whole point with that guy. Just some miscellaneous points before we approach the finale to Mega Man Legends. The voice acting dub. Some of it is hit and miss. Anime dubs in general were still figuring themselves out. There were some amazing dubs like Cowboy Bebop and Evangelion, but those were very rare back then, and this was doubly so for gaming. This game came out the same year, not long after Star Fox 64, and would say the dub is about the same in terms of quality.
That area's an oven. Don't go burning that R-Wing. Be reasonable, Fox.
I can face the facts. I lost, you won. I'm gonna try to forget this entire incident. Ah, it feels good to say that. My heart feels as clean as the blue sky on a cloudless day.
Some I found entertaining, and would say this may be poor voice direction, or likely a lack of voice direction even existing back then. This was just a year before the phenomenal dub for Metal Gear Solid that would show the world what a fully voiced game is capable of.
Snake, I'm heading your way.
What are you talking about?
There's something I've got to ask you.
Well, what is it?
Well, you see, I'll ask you when I see you. Bye.
Wait a minute.
Bit of a random thing to bring up, but there's also these surfboard guys that look like little Lego men. There's a good chance you've seen them in other Capcom games outside of Mega Man Legends. The music in this game is amazing, and you can't go wrong with Capcom, especially in the 90s. It never missed when it came to music, especially back then. I've been playing some over this review, but in particular, I really like the Simple More track, very somber, and I remember hearing it in many other videos unrelated to Mega Man Legends, so it shows its charm there. I even like the areas where there was no music, just ambience and footsteps. I know it's overused nowadays, but I love liminal spaces. And 90s era's gaming really had that vibe, with simple assets made to replicate real world counterparts. Seeing it all from the lens of 2024 is just super charming. Anyway, spoiler alert, please skip here if you'd like to avoid plot and final boss footage. I decided to grind some Zenny here in preparations for the final boss by kicking this ball at this animatronic dog for money. Decked out and upgraded, we confront Mega Man Juno, who was waiting in stasis to drop a nuke on the citizens of Catalogs to save the energy crisis, which I mean I get, but that is no way of going about it. After fighting off his first phase, mainly focused on jumping over his shockwaves, you are then into phase 2 where he fuses with some machine. We then use the same strat, strafe until he dies. A fun finale to cap off the adventure. I died a few times during these attempts, but thanks to the upgrades I didn't have that much of an issue. The people are saved, we stop the nuke, roll credits. But not until saying goodbye to the folks of Catalogs. In particular the old couple who you meet at the start of the game who give you upgrades. You can tell them at the start of the game that your name is Hippo, only for them to still call you it by the end of the game. Poor guys. Anyway, roll credits. To be continued, well I guess that makes sense with the plural on the name Mega Man Legends. And that was Mega Man Legends. I wanted to make this video for a few reasons. One, to get better at making content, but another to show that you should go back and play older games. Feel free to second guess people's takes and don't let 2010's Newgrounds videos dictate whether a game is worth your time. What I hope I've communicated here is to look beyond Mega Man Legends' hate and discourse. Just play the games the way they were meant to be played to have a damn good time. How a serious transition into 3D is such a boring topic nowadays, and through the lens of 2024 with gaming now, barely matters as much as content back in 2010s would have you believe. Also, Capcom, where is Mega Man Legends Legacy Collection? No one's gonna buy a copy of this game at these prices on eBay.
You beatly, Mega Man. Amogus. Mega Man.
Thanks for watching to the end of this video. I hope I've not come off as too negative this time around. Any feedback in the comments would be greatly appreciated. I really just wanted to make a video on Mega Man Legends after playing it for the first time. Please feel free to comment your history or favourite character in the series as well. Thanks for watching and have a nice rest of your day.